So yesterday we have completed almost all the research techniques, the procedure by which we collect data, right? And today we are going to have a discussion on validity and reliability. So when we use either positivist method or non-positivist method to gather data for bringing out several social facts, after going through certain procedures and the steps, we need to understand and analyze our data. For analyzing our data, two steps in research methods is very important. That is, how are research findings reliable and valid? Okay, so this is what we are focusing on. Good afternoon, everyone. Ankit, Saite, Nitin, Pawan. In this let me give a quick summary of this topic so that we can understand it completely. This is what I wanted to focus on. So there are different techniques we have got and discussed in previous class. We know about interview method, structured, unstructured, what is the use of questionnaire, how questionnaire is different from schedule, okay? Why do we need hypothesis? Triangulation is the method by which we use quantitative and qualitative approach both. Now we need to understand reliability. And then we do have, so this is here, it's reliability and validity. All right. Hello, Ankit, Saite, Nitin, Pawan, Saurav, Shraddha Rai, everyone. So how we can see that our research is reliable and valid? Yes. If whatsoever research we have conducted, if we are able to find the similar results from the procedures which we have applied, that would come as reliable. And how correct, or we can say how accurate our findings are according to our hypothesis, will quantify validity. Okay, so you can see in this manner that in collecting research and doing different kind of experiments in the social world, we also have procedures, scientific procedures like natural scientists. पॉजिटिविस्ट अप्रोच हो या एंटी पॉजिटिविस्ट अप्रोच हो, दोनों ही कुछ प्रोसीजर्स को फॉलो करते हैं अपनी अपनी फाइंडिंग्स के लिए. ठीक है. पहला स्टेप क्या है कि हमने सिलेक्ट किया टॉपिक, सिलेक्ट करने के बाद हमने हाइपोथेसिस सोचा कॉज एंड इफेक्ट कि ऐसा हो सकता है, फॉर इंस्टेंस डिवोर्स रेट इलिटरेट सोसाइटी में ज्यादा हो सकता है। ओके, ये हमने एक रिसर्च क्वेश्चन समझा, हाइपोथेसिस किया। अब इसको ऑब्जर्वेशन करने के लिए हमने सेकेंडरी लिटरेचर पढ़ा। सेकेंडरी लिटरेचर पढ़ने के बाद हमने कुछ क्वेश्चंस एंड ऑब्जेक्टिव्स क्लैरिफाई करे, एंड देन वी हैव डन सैम्पलिंग, रिसर्च डिजाइन किया और अपना डाटा कलेक्ट कर दिया। रिलायबिलिटी और वैलिडिटी जो मेथड्स हैं वो आपके डाटा कलेक्शन के बाद आते हैं। ओके, यस सौरभ। मैम, व्हाट अबाउट एक्यूरेसी एज वी टुक ओनली बंच ऑफ पीपल? एक्यूरेसी क्यों नहीं आ सकती है? बंच ऑफ पीपल ही अगर हम ले रहे हैं सौरभ आनंद, तो इफ वी आर कंडक्टिंग अ रिसर्च, लेट्स जस्ट से पॉवर्टी इन इंडिया, तो जो लोग पॉवर्टी कंडीशंस में आते हैं उनका सिमिलर कंडीशन ही रहेगा। आप गरीब को अगर कहीं भी, गुड आफ्टरनून, व्हेन यू वांट टू अंडरस्टैंड पॉवर्टी इन एनी स्टेट ऑफ इंडिया, देयर सोशल इकोनॉमिकल कंडीशन विल लार्जली बी सेम। ऐसा नहीं है कि किसी के पास बहुत अमीर है और इकोनॉमिकली वो हाई है तो वो पॉवर्टी में नहीं आएगा। तो एक्यूरेसी बिल्कुल आती है, जैसे कि मैंने आप लोगों को एक्सप्लेन किया था, व्हेन वी कुक राइस, तो ऐसा तो नहीं है कि हम एक एक चावल के दाने को चेक करते हैं कि वो पका के नहीं। तो सिमिलर इकोनॉमिकल सिमिलर सिचुएशन में जब हम रिसर्च भी करते हैं तो हमको जरूरी नहीं है कि हर एक इंसान की लाइफस्टाइल को देखना है। फॉर इंस्टेंस, इफ यू वांट टू अंडरस्टैंड पॉवर्टी अमंग सम slum areas, what type of social economical status those respondents which you have taken in your research for understanding how do they live under poverty, you have selected certain slum areas in India, let's just say in Delhi. You would see that they live in similar sort of conditions, they have similar economical necessities in their home, they have almost similar education profile, their thought process are also similar. Okay, so definitely accuracy is there. It's not about the bunch of people. It is not possible कि आप हर एक इंसान के व्यू पॉइंट लें, that is not required. In fact, आप 300 सैंपल साइज ले, 200 सैंपल साइज ले, आपको ऑलमोस्ट लोगों की एक जैसी मेंटालिटी रिफ्लेक्ट होती हुई नजर आएगी। एनीवे, so this is what today I'm going to have discussion more on validity and reliability. Afterwards, another topic which I'm going to conduct, no, it does not vary from place to place. If I am looking after the poverty, so poverty में absolute poverty, relative poverty हो सकती है, variation, but poverty की condition सबकी एक ही है। इसको आप ऐसे समझो, आप यूपीएससी प्रिपरेशन कर रहे हो, ऑल राइट, यूपीएससी प्रिपरेशन में जो आपका माइंड स्टेट ऑफ माइंड है, जो आपके पास सिलेबस है, जो प्रेशर है, वो सभी का एक जैसा है। अब यूपीएससी प्रिपरेशन जो बच्चे कर रहे हैं उनका माइंडसेट जानने के लिए मुझे हर एक यूपीएससी प्रिपरेशन जो कर रहे हैं उनसे इंटरव्यू लेने की कोई जरूरत नहीं है। अगर मैंने 300 सैंपल साइज भी लिया है तो सिमिलरली इन 300 सैंपल साइज में मोस्ट ऑफ द एस्पिरेंट्स विल हैव सिमिलर चैलेंजेस, ऑल राइट, सो इट इज लाइक दैट एंड it doesn't vary from place to place. So similarly, that's what you are talking about the poverty. UPSC, in UPSC preparation अगर आप इस तरीके से समझो तो एक ग्रुप ऐसे होते हैं जो एक ही बारी में प्रिपरेशन करके क्रैक कर लेते हैं, कुछ ऐसे बंच ऑफ एस्पिरेंट्स होते हैं जिनको सिर्फ और सिर्फ शौक होता है नोट्स कलेक्शन करने का, कुछ ऐसे बच्चे होते हैं जिनको सिर्फ दिमाग में ऐसा लगता है कि वो बहुत अच्छा प्रिपरेशन कर रहे हैं पर वो नहीं कर पा रहे होते हैं, या कोई ऐसा एस्पिरेंट्स होता है, कुछ ऐसे भी एस्पिरेंट्स होते हैं जिन वो जो बैलेंस नहीं कर पाते, ठीक है। तो सब ऐसे ऐसे अलग अलग ग्रुपिंग ही मिलेंगी आपको, इंडिविजुअलिटी पे रिसर्च नहीं होती है, इट इज अ पार्ट ऑफ सम ग्रुप. ओके, डू यू अंडरस्टैंड दिस नाउ? कोरोना वायरस अगर किसी को हुआ तो सबको एक ही सिमिलर इम्पैक्ट पड़ेगा, तो उसमें वेरिएशन हो सकता है कि किसी की इम्यूनिटी बहुत स्ट्रांग है तो वो अलग तरीके से कोप अप करेगा, दैट इज डिफरेंट. बट द कंडीशन ऑफ द पॉवर्टी एंड दोज हु आर कमिंग अंडर दैट पॉवर्टी लाइन विल बी सेम. ऑलराइट, इज दिस नाउ क्लियर टू यू, सौरभ आनंद? ओके, now after explaining reliability and validity in research, I will explain historical method, functional, statistical, comparative, and case study. Often UPSC asks questions from these methods. Okay? For example, historical method पे question आया हुआ है, comparative में, statistical methods पे, और इसके बाद आपका ये वाला topic 2 and 3 will be completed. So उसके बाद after this I will give you 2 more PPTs that is there for you to read as a value addition. Now let's begin with validity and reliability. This is reliability means dependability or consistency. How consistent your findings can be. Okay, it suggests that the same thing is repeated or reoccurs under the identical and very similar conditions. Okay, do you understand, Saurav, now? So those studies on which we are conducting a research, so they will have similar conditions. When I'm saying that I'm understanding Indian society and those who are living under poverty, so whosoever comes under poverty line, they would have similar conditions. All right. So my finding for stating that I found during my research that 70-80% of population in Indian society who comes under poverty, they are illiterate or have less education. So this condition will be same. कोई और भी अगर रिसर्च करेगा तो उसको भी यही बात पता चलेगी कि इंडिया में अगर 70% लोग पॉवर्टी के अंडर आते हैं तो वो इलिटरेट होते हैं. फॉर इंस्टेंस, आई हैव फाउंड ड्यूरिंग माय रिसर्च those respondents who comes under poverty line again are those who are indulged in maximum different sorts of crimes. All of them majorly had some criminal records. Now I'm saying that this percentage vary from 40 to 50%. Now in this 40 to 50%, if someone else would also conduct their research, they will also have the similar results. They would also say that those people who are falling under this BPL, they are the one who are illiterate, and 40 to 50%, so maybe he doesn't have that accurate percentage. He may come out with the findings of 35 to 40. And that person would also state that in his finding, he too found that these peoples are indulged in different sorts of crimes. Okay? Now, I may found that during my research, these sections of people who are poor, they are also among those who got high rate of mental problems. All right. So this percentage, if somebody else will conduct a research, they will also have similar findings. That, let's just say Dr. Huma Hassan have conducted a research on poverty, then we have someone else too, a sociologist, who is also trying to understand poverty. So we both will have a similar sort of findings. All right. So this is what happens when we conduct a research. Again, if I give you an example that during my research findings, during my research, I found that social situations or domestic relationships are very harsh between husbands and wives. Husbands also have multiple affairs and marriages, so as freedom among women under poverty also high, and they also have, or their women also are indulged into many affairs and marriages, due to which there is negligence of children, and children have high rate of dropouts. If somebody else have conducted a research in India or in Delhi, in some other parts, let's just say I conducted my research in Delhi, somebody else conducted his research in Calcutta, but we both are looking after poverty. My findings and his findings will be of very much, you can say, similar or closely related. That is how we conduct a research and we can have accuracy. So the kind of findings I discovered by using primary and secondary resources, by collecting data, by using interview, questionnaire, any sort of method, if somebody else is conducting a research on the same topic but in different state, he or she would also come out with a similar finding, and that shows reliability. Is this now clear to everyone? Any doubt? Ankit, Saite, Nitin, Pavan, Saurav, Shraddha? So this is how reliability will come. So when you say that, for instance, when we talk about UPSC aspirants, how can I tell that, okay, these are the areas or the topics in which aspirants generally find difficulties? It is only because of experiences, and that experience I have studied. It's a pattern, I would say, because since I am teaching every batch and every year, let's just say research topic method, and the difference between quantitative and qualitative is one, I have discovered that most of the respondents have found difficulties. Okay, so it is not something I have analyzed, but if I have conducted a research on it and I have done an interview on all of you and asking questions, and I would say, okay, tell me in entire topics in the syllabus of sociology, which portion you find really difficult. If most of you would say that it's research methods and methodology, and the graph of this answer maximum tilt, if it's tilted towards research and methods, so I would say that most of the aspirants find it difficulty. However, there will be some who would say that no, research methods and methodology, it's quite easy, we don't find difficulty in that. So I would tell that there are few who do not find difficulties in this particular topic, but majorly. Let's just say another example. We all know that UPSC aspirants, and not only UPSC aspirants, anyone who is preparing for any examination, all right, they find problem in writing answers. So this is a problem not of Saurabh or Mukul or Gaurav or Rajesh. It is of everyone, because we have found that. So now it become a fact. Are you getting this? Now it become a fact. It is a fact that UPSC aspirant or anyone who is preparing for examination, they can study for longer periods of time and they can have conceptual clarity, but when it comes to answer writing, they get stuck. Okay, so now this is a established fact. You, me, everyone will agree on that. This is how we collect that facts and data. All right. So let's just see this in more detail. Hypothesis is clear to all of you? Guys, please kindly write this. Write down reliability. I'm coming. पानी रख दोगे? कहाँ? मेरे इसमें गर्म पानी नहीं है. अब तुम खाना खा रहे हो, थोड़ी देर में करके रख. अब खा लो. मेरा ग्लास ही नहीं है. आप कहाँ पे? अच्छा, टेबल पे रख दिया क्या? अच्छा, ठीक है. ध्रुव ने बहुत पढ़ाई कर ली है, इसलिए ध्रुव खुद भी नहीं पढ़ रहा है, दूसरों को भी डिस्टर्ब कर रहा है. Okay. So what's reliability? It simply means that how far we can have a constant result. Whenever we apply similar procedure, we are applying it, we are getting the similar answer. For example, if somebody is a kind-hearted person, no matter what, you keep asking him for money, he will he would keep giving you. So if he would keep giving you, that's when that he's an extremely kind-hearted person. Okay, so that is this. You can say in research method and analysis, reliability accounts for consistency of any test, and this is the major advantages of reliability, that it ensures the quality of the procedure. Okay. So reliability means what? Reliability means test, retest. All right, please write down. In social science research, akin to natural science research, akin means similar. In social science research, similar to natural science research, reliability holds central position. Reliability holds central position in determining success rate of research. As we know, one of the major challenges with sociological research, one of the major challenges in sociological research is to have biasness, is to have researcher's own biasedness. You can write down researcher own biasness and judgments. Comma, that can be controlled that can be controlled if a researcher exercised a stronger mechanism of checking reliability of his or her research. To confirm reliability, researcher must not have to conduct research again and again, but they can have check and balance while collecting their data. But they can have check and balance but they can have check and balance of their findings whether they are influenced by any preconceived notions. Further, researcher can publish their research work for criticism, and other researchers may look into researchers' findings and can bring about critique of their work that eventually helps in checking the reliability. Also, if similar research is being conducted by others, and they too have similar or close findings, that ensures reliability of any research. Is this clear? One of the other methods, while we are collecting your data, like yesterday when I was asking to Ankit a question in interview. So I'm asking the similar question by different perspective, in different ways. Okay? So if every time that person will come up with the same answer, I would say the answer which he is giving is correct, and I may include his findings into my research. Okay? Is this clear? So you can say validity. Now let me just explain you validity. Okay, no, first of all, I'll explain reliability to you. You just focus on reliability right now. So reliability is production of consistent, replicable outcomes. Okay, substantiate based on past data. So we prove our points on the basis of our data. Use of limited numbers of objective variables. So we will have limited variables. Okay, and this variables I'll explain in answer writing session if you all will join that. That even in your answers, there should be some points. Not every point you should talk about. Okay, so there should be only two or in paragraph 2, 3, if you're writing 3 paragraphs. Okay, so maximum 2 important points you can talk about in your answers. Okay, so 2 points in body 1, 2, 3, 4. Do not have mixture of all the information, right? So similarly, we can have variables like that. So you can say reliability refers to the consistency of an instrument or measurement. So whatsoever finding I have produced in the research, that will be consistent in its finding. So thought of as an individual's true score on the phenomena you aim to measure minus measurement error. So for example, you will, so they have given some explanation, you can just leave that. All right, just leave this. Now, let me explain you first validity. Then I'll explain both. So, validity means to the extent to which an indicator really measure the concept under investigation. How valid I have used my methods in order to bring out the answers. Okay, so validity is this. अभी आपको और clear होगा, just wait. After reliability, we focus on validity. So whatsoever we have found, is it correct or not? Reality. So accuracy of an instrument, a degree to which you are measuring what you claim to measure, how well we measure our social reality. So that is validity. So whatsoever I aimed to study, whether that findings have proved my hypothesis or not. So if I have wanted to understand poverty in India, so whether I could have produced that type of knowledge for understanding and reflecting on poverty or not. So whatsoever research methods and techniques I have deployed during my research, is it reflecting on variable called poverty or not? How correct my methods I have used. Okay. Let's now explain and understand a little more on observation on validity and reliability. So reliability, it's minimization of judgment, as I explained, avoidance of the possibility of bias, and now let's just see validity. So production of outcome that meets objective. So if I wanted to understand the condition of poverty, so मैंने वो achieve किया के नहीं, that is validity. Substantiate based on future events, use of a broad numbers or diverse variables, integration of judgment, acknowledgement of the reality of bias. Okay? समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा? Validity means accuracy. How accurate my findings. So I wanted to understand poverty, but I understood something else, then my research is not valid. If I wanted to understand the economical reasons why poverty is being emerging, and if I could understand the religious reasons only, then my research is not valid. In validity, we have two types of broad types: internal validity and external validity. Okay? So online aspirants, are you finding any difficulties? So what you can say, measurement or construct validity that reflects our concepts. Internal validity are causal relation between variables real. So if I'm saying poverty accelerates due to, you can say, high level of, let me explain this. If I'm saying this, that poverty increases due to factor of low level of literacy, so this connection which I have made is it real or not? It can be real. If it is real, then my research is valid. And if it is not, then my research is invalid. Okay? And then external validity, can result be generalized beyond the research setting? So if I am using this cause and effects parameters, let's just say I have conducted my research in Delhi and someone else is conducted their research in Bihar. And if they are also finding that yes, these two variables, so this is independent and this is dependent, okay, they both have a relationship. This is independent, so poverty is independent, right? This poverty is independent variable. You must be knowing this. So what are independent variables? Yesterday I have explained. What is independent variable? So it's a poverty, it's a cause, independent variable. If I'm saying that because of poverty, there's a poverty, and if there is a high level of poverty, it's only happened because of low level of literacy. So if the poverty, let's just say it's high, then we are having low level of literacy. If poverty gets low, then our effect will be high level of literacy. So if changes is happening in poverty, then we are getting effects on literacy. All right. So right now I've used two independent variables, independent and dependent variables. However, these two can be vice versa also. So if I say, let's just say, I'm saying education and then poverty. So education is my independent variable. So if this gets high, let's just see effects on poverty, which is my dependent variable. Who said independent variable? Dependent. It's dependent variable. And it's dependent on which? It's dependent on this. So they have the relation. In anthropology, we collect these two as marriage lines. But it is, you can say that they are both connected. All right. So let's just say if it is high, then you will say that we get decrease and then low level of poverty. All right. And if it is, let's just say, low, then here what will come? High level of poverty. Right? Is this getting clear to all of you? Are you all with me, guys? Ankit, Saite, everyone, are you all with me? Understanding what I'm saying? So, yeah, what Nitin? Poverty is inversely proportional to education, definitely. So you are understanding, Nitin, in terms of variables, independent variables, Shraddha, all the new joinings. So how we can say that it is valid? If the similar finding I am conducting in Bihar, and I have seen that these two variables is producing similar results. So that's when my findings is true. UPSC, in fact, have asked a question in prelims with respect to culture of poverty, that who has written this book called Culture of Poverty. I don't remember which year. Okay. A very amazing book. One must read. This is French. I think it is in French. But Oscar. Yes. So you remember this question had come in prelims? इसलिए बता रहे हो. But then it's a very book, very beautiful book, Oscar Lewis, right? And he has explained, while taking poverty as a variable on which he has conducted a research, he conducted a research in a family, and it was an ethnographic research. Okay, so what type of research it was? Ethnographic research. Okay, so what do we know? You better go outside and use your phone, Shikha. मैं बता रही हूँ. You focus here. Ethnographic research. I know I'm really already very impressed with your knowledge. Okay, you can tell me again कि मैम ये कौन सी ईयर में क्वेश्चन आया था, बता दो अब. चलो तुम देख ही रहे हो तो. All right. So ethnographic research is what? Where? What is ethnographic research? Does anyone have any idea? Shraddha, Saurav, Pawan, Nitin, Saitya, Ankit, anyone? What is ethnographic research? I have several times I have explained this. वहां पे जाके रहते हैं तो उसको क्या कहते हैं? वहां पे जाके रहते हैं पार्टिसिपेंट रिसर्च. तो उसमें किस टाइप का डाटा कलेक्ट होता है? वेरी नाइस. अनबायस्ड. ये नहीं. What is the difference between positivist research and anti-positivist research? No. So what type of findings we have? मुकुल इधर उधर मत देखो, मुझे आंसर बताओ जल्दी से. हाँ बताओ कैसा होता है फाइंडिंग? Qualitative research. Very good, Saurav. It's a qualitative research. So qualitative research determines with rich data. It's rich data. Of course, primary, it's a rich data. So where we get too much nuance detail. So we get nuance information. What is nuance? Detailed information. All right. So what happens in ethnographic research in the culture of poverty? Oscar Lewis have conducted a very beautiful research. He stayed there. It is definitely used, and you can say he definitely implemented participatory research methods. Participatory research methods where he went and lived, okay, and become a part of a society, of their society for several months or maybe for a year or 2 years. But the kind of findings he got through, he took a family, one family. It was Sanchez, that respondent name was Sanchez or Sanchez, and he's seen that from the autobiographies of different families, he have proved that the father has a similar traits, the mother has similar traits, and children have similar traits, and poverty has a culture. So what is culture? Culture which has a fixed pattern, and that comes again and again. It is there. So if it is coming and What did you say, Shikhar? Yeah. So culture is what? It's an act. It's a repetitive pattern. All right. So Oscar Lewis have found out that poverty has got a culture. It is a culture in which from generations to generations, different genders in different age face similar sort of problems. For instance, he said that how such as the male member was struggling in feeding his family and how he got multiple affairs, right? And what type of challenges he faced while he's living in that place. Wives also have the similar challenges, all right, living in one room where grown-up children are there, the new children, the newborns are also there, no privacy, and how difficult it is. For them, it is survival. So what means for them is to survive, how they can survive in that place, and how they have high aspiration also. So what is their high aspiration? That high aspiration is different from our aspiration. Their aspiration is just that they should have some savings and they must live their life in some peace where they do not have economical crunches. Whereas the children face similar sort of deviation and problems. They have high dropout rates, okay? And this is a never-ending cycle. It's perpetuating. So it's perpetuating automatically. So something, if you say, what, like, if the pattern is arising in society, automatically it's perpetuating with no effort, it becomes a culture. All right. And then he has explained that how in any societies, when a certain sections are going under poverty, they meant, and even they have high level of education, they try really hard. Am I audible, guys? Online students? Even they try really hard, they are fixed and they cannot come out of that vicious cycle because of too many other factors. And here you will relate it with Amartya Sen capability approach. Okay, so when you're talking about poverty, we are talking about Oscar Lewis, and now I have brought Amartya Sen. Amartya Sen work is known as capability approach. Shall I write it here? So capability approach is a theory in which he has talked about 5 freedoms. That he says that if one does not have political freedom, social freedom, economical freedom, social cultural freedom, one cannot grow because they have less opportunities. Imagine Oscar Lewis conducted a research in France or some other place, and similar findings we can see in India. So poverty is similar everywhere. Is this clear to you now, Saurav, Anand? That poverty is similar in spite of the location. All right. Is this clear, Saurav, Anand, to you? And what did I do right now? I make correlations. I'm talking about research methods and technique where I'm talking about variable and dependent variables and independent variables, and I'm showing the validity of my research. I have got 2 important thinkers, Amartya Sen and Oscar Lewis. And we do have many more thinkers who talk about poverty, specifically in terms of Indian society. Let's talk about economic brain theory in during Indian national movement. So this is what your paper 2, where economical brain theory given by Dadabhai Naren. What's his full name? Dadabhai. And we also have dependency theory. Okay, in India, we do have development theory. So Atul Agnotri, I think, is also one of the writer whom I have read the article on that, how we have a development problems, you know, that poverty and development is very much related. Okay, so that's what we have to understand, right? So we do have various thinkers who have spoke about poverty, but right now we are talking about research methods and methodology. But what I'm trying to show is that we are discussing right now a topic of topic 2 and 3, which is there in your paper 1. But while you are explaining and talking about research methods, we have brought topics of paper 2. That sort of interconnection you need to make, not only in sociology, but in other papers as well. Is this clear? Shall I proceed? Okay. So we have done this. We are here. So now let's just see reliability and validity in quantitative research. So what is quantitative research, Saurabh? It is a part of positivist or non-positivist? Good. So reliability means dependability or consistency. I think we are clear with this. It suggests that the same thing is repeated, reoccurs, all right, under identical or very similar conditions. So I cannot compare my studies. If I conducted a research on casteism among Muslims in India, so my research can be similar only to those research who had conducted their research on minority first of all, right? So there must be some minority community. So if Muslim is the largest minority in India, after that we have Christianity. So if I'm saying the Christianity, casteism among Christianity in India, so then I will have the similar findings. Okay, because in Christianity and also in Islam or among Muslims, casteism is not emerging out of religious teachings. Casteism is emerging among these two minorities due to cultural contact. All right, we are well aware of the fact that in India, not many untouchables or Dalits have accepted Islam and Christianity in order to skip away the evils of caste system, right? So when they converted into this new religion, even though they could not skip away from the evils of the caste system. This is a similar study. So now we will have the similar findings among Muslims and also in Christianity, okay, with respect to caste as a variable. However, if you want to understand caste in Hindu communities, which you can say that casteism is one of the major factors by which Hindu communities are dividing, and it is in Hindu's community, it is coming out of religion, philosophies, so we cannot have the similar findings. Are you getting this point? So for example, if you want to compare strength and weakness of male, and if you are comparing similar strength and weakness with female, then your findings will be difficult or difficult to come out, or it will not produce the similar results. All right, so it's like that. Now I hope I have made myself clear. So this is reliability, and the validity addresses the question of how well we measure social reality using our constructs about it. So what is validity and reliability? in quantitative and qualitative approach. So in qualitative, minor role, perhaps the extent to which multiple coders agree, and how information accurate information we have. All right, is this clear? So let me just give you more explanation on validity. So internal validity, truth in the study. External validity, truth in real life. So my findings of poverty, how much is valid if I'm conducting the similar research somewhere else. All right, guys, any doubts so far? Validity means that we actually measuring what we claim to be measuring. Okay, so this is internal and that is external. You generally will get question on validity and reliability. So please do remember this is an important topic. So internal, how well a study got conducted. External relates to how applicable that is in the real world. Is this clear, Mukul? As I've already explained, we have two types of validity. So I'm skipping this. You can come up here. So validity, extent to which an indicator really measures the concepts. So 5 ways to assess validity. As other experts do, you think this is valid, face validity, concurrent validity. So this is a chart you can just make if a question come on your validity. Okay? I think you all can go through these examples now. Okay? So I'm not going to talk about this. Triangulation I've already explained. Right? Qualitative and quantitative both. And sample size also we have spoke about. Now let me just talk about the variables. All right? Variable is quite important for all of you, even in your answer writing things. Okay? So variables is like a point which you should give in your answers. So you can say that variable is a concept or abstract idea. That is why I used variable in your answers. So when we write your answer, when you write your answers, right? So whatever is being asked to you, you cannot simply put lot of ideas in your answer. That is a really bad idea. You know, because you read too many things, and when you read too many things, too many ideas pop out in your mind. You need to train your mind that not everything you can write. And if you're writing one idea, that has to be explained. Okay, so variable is what? An idea, a concept. So that can be described in major terms. In research, this term refers to the measurable characteristics, qualities, trait, attribute, or particular individual object, right? So anything that we are studying is considered as variable. All right. So sometimes you do get question. I think variable पे question आया है. Shigar, can you help me with that? If you have, I think मैंने segregated questions वाला PDF share किया ना आप लोगों से? नहीं किया? Okay. So let it be. So anything that can vary, variable, for instance, age can be considered as a variable because age can talk different values for different people. Income can be another variable. Education can be another variable. All right. So these are the different variables. For example, if I want to understand poverty, okay. So age can be one variable. I want to see that. Let me explain again. So I am looking at caste. Okay. So I can have multiple variables. For example, one variable I have is of age, then it's of gender. All right. Then I can see economical statist, so what now if I'm saying that I have done a sampling and I have decided that I'm conducting the research on this type of groups who are between 20 to 30, then I'll take another slab 40 to 50 and then 60 to 70. So I will try to understand the experiences of caste on the basis of their age groups. Similarly, males and females, and similarly economical status. So high, middle, or low. All right. So these are my variables. And I've already explained independent and dependent variables. Is this clear to all of you guys? Shraddha, Saurav, Pavan, Nitin, Saitya, Ankit. ठीक है? Dependent and independent variable. तो हमको पता चल गया है. So it's like cause and effects. This is independent variable and this is dependent variable. All right. So go through this PPT. All right. So these I have just given the answers on this. So independent variable. So variable that is changed, like for example, amount of water, independent variable affected by that change. There's a change which is happening. So अगर इसमें कुछ भी change हो रहा है, तो यहाँ पे effect आ रहा है. So अगर पानी it's a water droplet at balance, so it's fine, growing, right? And if high level of drop of water, so it's dying. And if it is small, then we do not have much growth. Okay? So अगर balance पानी डाला, तो result क्या आया? Too many leaves. ज़्यादा डाला तो मर गया, कम डाला तो 2 leaves. Okay? It is like that. Independent variables, it influences dependent variables. So IB is independent variable. All right. So is there anyone who could not understand this chapter? Anyone who is finding any difficulty? So this is it. Now we are done with topic 2 and 3. Now we have to take 2 other topics, that is methods of research. Yeah, this is what we have to do today. All right. So in this topic, we do not have to put a lot of efforts. It's quite easy. We have already done it. Okay. Shraddha, Saurav, Pavan, everyone. Education is independent variable. I could not understand Saurav. What? Education में अगर high होता है, education अगर high है कहीं, understand like this. अगर हम सबके पास high level of education है, तो गरीबी कम हो जाएगी. और अगर education आपकी नहीं है, कम है, okay? तो गरीबी ज़्यादा, एजुकेशन अगर आपकी कम है तो गरीबी ज़्यादा हो जाएगी. नाउ अंडरस्टैंड, अगर कहीं भी लिटरेसी रेट ज़्यादा है, फॉर एग्जांपल केरला में लिटरेसी रेट बहुत है, तो वहाँ पे यू वुड सी के एम्प्लॉयमेंट का प्रॉब्लम नहीं होगा, फाइन, लाइक दैट. पॉवर्टी कम होगी, और अगर पॉवर्टी तब भी है लिटरेसी एजुकेशन हाई होने के बावजूद, देन व्हाट कैन बी द रीजन? इसका मतलब एम्प्लॉयमेंट कम है, right? It is like that. Now do you understand, Saurav? So I will not talk about the methods of sociology. Okay, we have already talked about sociology, like what is the problem, why do we use different methods to find out the facts. ये सब आप लोग खुद पढ़ोगे. I will explain the methods. Okay? So we have a comparative method. Let me explain you through this. I've got this on this page. Okay, so one by one we will use this method. So please write down about comparative methods first. So validity and reliability you have written, right? So validity का आप लोग notes बना लोगे. Shall I dictate the notes? Validity, is this clear? It is already there in your PPT. Validity को आप खुद से लिख सकते हो. Now write down about comparative methods. Okay. So what is happening in comparative methods? As it says, comparison. So let's study comparative method. So as name suggests, it means comparison. It is a general rule when we compare two things, it is of similar nature. You cannot compare fish or water bodies animals with terrestrial bodies animals. It will be wrong, right? So comparison, if happening, it will be happening within the societies. So comparison method is not the method which is being used only by sociologists. In every discipline, this method is being used. For instance, Aristotle, who is considered as a very renowned philosopher who have spoke about political system, justice and whatnot. He had also compared political systems of different countries, different nations. When Socrates was talking about justice, he used to talk about justice with all of his contemporaries, that what does they understand with the concept of justice. If I want to understand democracy in India, if I can understand democracy with any other countries, I will have better understanding. So while we do comparison, the findings which we get, it gives us more clarity over the phenomena which we are understanding. Okay? For instance, if you understand Herbert Spencer theory of evolution, what Herbert Spencer is doing? He's comparing societies from simple to complex. All right. So comparative method, let's see how different sociologists have used. We will begin with Herbert Spencer. He is explaining simple societies and comparing it to complex societies. Right? Auguste Comte also talking about different stages of society. theological, metaphysical, and positivist. Emile Durkheim too is comparing society mechanical and organic. He has also used the division of labor. So labor is his variable, and then is comparing between the three classes. Okay. So Karl Marx let me complete. Karl Marx is also understanding societies and comparing. So he has used historical societies, for example, the hunter and gatherer society. Hunter and gatherers. Then after hunter and gatherer, we have pastoralist. And then what we have? Feudal and agriculture. You can say. And then industrial. So this is a comparative method. If we compare two variables, okay, is this clear? After comparative method, so what we see, all classical sociologists have used comparative method. So we compare different societies or different groups within the same society to show whether they are similar or different. Max Weber also have compared प्रोटेस्टेंट एथिक ऑफ कैपिटलिज्म में प्रोटेस्टेंट को उन्होंने जॉन कैथोलिक से किया, ठीक है। तो प्रोटेस्टेंट को उन्होंने कैथोलिक से कंपेयर किया, तो कंपैरिजन मेथड समझ में आ गया। इट्स जस्ट सिंपल कंपैरेटिव वी आर यूजिंग। नाउ लेट्स सी हिस्टोरिकल। इज देयर एनीवन ऑनलाइन स्टूडेंट जिसको क्लैरिटी नहीं है? अंकित, साहित्य, नितिन, पवन, सौरभ, श्रद्धा, am I audible? All right, so now let me explain you historical method. See, here this societies which Herbert Spencer spoke about, it is something in history. So theological stage was a society which there in the past, or metaphysical or the positivist. So mechanical is the past society and organic is the contemporary society. So this is a past society and this is a contemporary society, right? So in historical methods, sociologists are using historical methods in order to understand present context. So if I want to understand casteism in India, how it's playing its role in political structures of Indian society, I may have to go back to its origin. By understanding any phenomenon through history, we get more understanding and light which we then produce on today's understanding of various social phenomena is more clearer. Okay, every society. So you would see, in fact, that a question also came in UPSC that without sociology, the study of society is baseless, or if there is no history, then it's fruitless. Right? This question had come, comparison of sociology with history. If I am talking about contemporary society, post-industrial society right now, in today's time, I need to understand what type of societies were there previously. So when I am looking in historical data, when I'm going back and trying to construct a theory in today's time and looking at the past societies, I'm using historical methods. Karl Marx, for that, in that context, have used very beautiful variable, that is economical situation, and then he had analyzed past societies. Okay, so in that way, it is the use of historical methods. Any doubts? So please write down 2 methods. In sociology, we have diverse methods. We have diverse methods by which we conduct studies. We conduct various studies. One of the popular method is comparative method. Most of the sociologists, classical sociologists, and even in today's time, use comparative method. So write down the thinker's name: Herbert Spencer, Auguste Comte, Emile Durkheim, Karl Marx, Max Weber. They all have used comparative method. Even in today's time, we have different sociologists who are using this method. Then we have second method is historical method. Write down. Similar to comparative method, in social science research, we have historical methods to investigate any social phenomenon. Okay. To analyze present social facts, it is essential to look into historical facts, Then give the example of Karl Marx. हाँ, गांधी जी कास्ट सिस्टम में कैसे आप हिस्ट्री में कैसे एक्सप्लेन करोगे? वर्णा, हाँ वर्णा, और ये सिर्फ उन्होंने नहीं बताई है, ये एक्चुअली में कास्ट सिस्टम का बेस है वर्णा। ओके all right, now use statistical methods. Statistical method in social science research is another important method for collection of data, It reflects more on quantitative findings. It reflects more on quantitative findings and brings accurate data. You can write down that name. And in sociology, which thinkers have used statistical method and propagate? Yes, suicide and मुझे लगता है statistical method पे क्वेश्चन आ सकता है इस बार आप लोगों को. ओके अभी स्टैटिस्टिकल मेथड थोड़ा समझ में तो आ गया है, ठीक है, इसको मैं एक्सप्लेन कर देती हूँ. So I'm skipping all this. So Aristotle, he is known for the using of comparative method while understanding different political systems. Okay, then we have too many sociologists who had used this method. Okay, so comparison method is one such great method by everyone is conducting their research on. Okay, so the method of comparing different societies or groups within the same society to show whether and why they are similar or different in certain aspects, and this is again a good method if you use in your answers writing also. Okay, so while using comparison method we can find out the clues on the men's social behavior. So not only in sociology, it is being done and applicable to all the sciences. So Montesquieu and Comte and so many other thinkers, they have used and tried to understand different social institutions by using comparative methods. So all of you will read all on that. Durkheim is one such great example. Division of labor में भी comparison ही हो रहा है. So you all will read. Acha, this Taylor is very important for all of us, Edward Taylor, for understanding religion. ठीक है, जब हम religion में बात करेंगे तो Taylor की theories are really important. So I want all of you to go through this PPT. Okay. I have already explained all this, so now I'm just going to explain a little bit on historical method. So in historical method, it is a study of events, process and institution of past civilizations for the purpose of finding the origins or antecedents, the past events of contemporary social life and thus understanding its nature and working. इसी के ऊपर आपके पर एक क्वेश्चन आया है टॉपिक 1 का, that sociology has arose because of historical antecedents, something like that. Okay, तो हम कंटेम्प्रेरी सोसाइटी को तभी समझ सकते हैं अगर हमारे पास पास्ट फैक्ट्स हैं. So our present forms of social life, our customs, tradition, ways of life, whatsoever we can see, we can have better understand and we can best explain them by tracing them back to their origins. So when we have the origins, okay, when we go to the origins, explanation become more transparent. So that is why historical sociology is sometimes also known as historical sociology. Okay, to have better explanation for transparent conceptual understanding. So why do we need to understand history, historical events, by the way, when we know what had happened in the past, we can contemplate that what can be done now or what can happen now. For example, Ibn Khaldun is a great philosopher. You must all know. I will teach him, but I will explain the thinkers. I think from tomorrow we are going to start the thinkers. Okay, so while I will explain the thinkers, I will also bring some thinkers which will help you in your essays writing too. Okay, in paper 2 and paper 3. Sorry, in paper 1 and paper 2 in sociology, and also in essay and ethics, and in GS paper 1. So Ibn Khaldun has spoke about in his book Muqaddas that how the political structure of civilization erupt and then how it fall down. So he says that any civilization or kingdom, it rises, or any state, when there is a good governance. So it talks about various things and there is a lot of effort. So the energy level is really high. But when you come at when we come at the peak, then we take things for granted and we start not working on ourselves. We become lazy, and then there is not a proper central administration, and then even the massive empires fall down. So you would say that in history, see any figures or any good developments in terms of religion as well. So there's a one man who raised such institutions, but then it falls down. So he says that everything comes up and then it comes down. So why do we need to have such historical understanding? So if we know in the past, for example, what had happened by using nuclear weapons, atom bombs, we have seen that a lot of destruction had occurred, right? We have seen a lot of just a moment. Hello, but I'll give you a call later. All right. So what had happened? So much of destruction had happened in the past. So now we got the lessons, and we know that it is not healthy for human society. So we should not use of nuclear weapons. So the past events help us to take better decision for our current scenario. Okay. So I hope this is clear to all of you. Is there anyone who is finding a difficulty in understanding this? Then we have statistical methods. So online students, is it clear to all of you? Ankit, Saitya, Nitin, Pavan, Saurabh, Sharda. Okay. So statistical method, it discloses the relationship between different aspects of social phenomenon. So when Emile Durkheim used statistical method, he has used and explained us by using statistical method that how society is a social phenomenon and not an individual phenomenon. So whenever we take the statistical method, it provides us more efficient data. All right. So we can see the divorce rate, marriage rate, crime rate, any problem which we can measure, okay, because statistical is associated with numbers. So number brings good, transparent information, okay. So there will be no biasness in our findings. It will be more accurate, okay. So statistical method reveals certain distinctive features when applied to the study of social phenomena. So it tells about, for example, if we have used statistical method to obtain different types of information, we can talk about standard of living, human ecology, economics and all in precise numbers. So collection of numerical information through questionnaires and surveys, statistical method we used. So Comte and then other thinkers, Giddings, they have emphasized the importance of statistical method in sociological research to have both type of research. So it's like they say that why it is like, it is true that most of the data dealt with in sociology is of qualitative nature, but we must have quantitative findings too. Okay. So nowadays what is happening? Anyone who is conducting a research, they try to have statistical information as well. Okay. So to bring out the reliability in your research, because it's not possible, as Max Weber says, that we are conducting a research on social actors. And it is very difficult to have check and balance at every step of your research findings, right? How to cope up with such obstacles? One of the methods which is being prescribed by sociologists is to have statistical methods. So for example, I want to understand caste complexity in Indian society. I will definitely going to have quantitative information by using questionnaires or schedules, and then I will get the numbers. All right, that this many percentage have never felt discrimination or 20% have felt discrimination, apart from detailed information that how they have experienced discrimination. Okay. Now case study method. So case study method, it comes out of legal studies. All right. So case study method is nowadays very important. So in every research we have 10 to 11 case studies, depends on the types of research. So what happens in the case studies, we take a particular event, it can be person or any activities, and then we do an extensive study of that, just like the case which is being studied under legal studies. Okay. So it is this method, case study method, is a holistic treatment of a subject, and here we get too much of information, qualitative analysis of the issue. You can say that case study method, it is an in-depth study of an individual or a situation or an organization, institutions or a family or a group of a small community. Okay, legal studies. In legal studies, we bring lot of detailed information. So it happens with the case studies too. So why do we need the case? We need the case studied, it is a representative of many similar cases. So when we know that if we study the 10 families in very in-depth detail, the way Oscar Lewis had conducted while collecting information on poverty. So he had said that every family will go through these issues. So now we have got a lot of information about those families who have experienced poverty. Okay, so case studies gives us very qualitative information about any events. All right, that will be applicable on others research topics as well. So you can write down this one after writing case. आपने statistical method लिखा था, comparative method. So this particular point you can write down from here to here. Okay, class notes में at least you should make some smaller notes that you should know that what had been done in the past. Write down this slide. So do write down in your class notes so that you should know what had happened on this particular date. बाद में तो आप you can make your own notes. Am I audible? Okay, yes. Keep writing this. Done? All of you? Anyone finding any difficulties? Okay. So I hope this is clear to all of you. Now we got the functional method. Functional method is similar to a functional theory. All right. So write down that functional method is what? In this, we try to understand and we understand phenomena with respect to functions. Please write down this particular point. So here, functionalism refers to the study of social phenomena from the point of view of the functions that particular institution or social structures such as class or caste serves. So in functionalism, so what is the functionalist method? It is a similar of emerging from the concept of functionalism, in which we believe that society is made up of different social institutions, different parts, and every part has a specific functions to play. So for example, if we say that political institute is a social institution which plays a great role in combating social control, in you can say in combating problems, different social issues, right? So by using functionalist method, we can obtain a very authentic information that whether this political institution is serving its function or not. So functional method emphasizes on the functional part, the functioning of these institutions. All right. So if we apply functionalism in order to understand, to evaluate, to obtain the information on the evolution or evaluating religion. In today's time, when we have a lot of communal violence, so do you think that religion is fulfilling its role? Because if we say that religion, if we take a milder kind debate, so for him, it says that religion brings integration. Here we are not having only disintegration, but we are having pathological ills, we are having chaos, we are having conflict, we are having bloodshed. It is creating damage in the structures of society. Okay, so in functional, what we are understanding, we would see only the functional pattern. Is this clear to all of you? Functional wala? So I think I have have highlighted all this. Religion has its own function to perform or need to fulfill, and it may be the expression and reinforcement of social solidarity, as Durkheim spoke of. All right. The functional integration of every society and institution is there. By using functional method, we can very much evaluate that particular function, whether it is happening or not. Okay, guys? I hope it is getting clear to all of you. Now, I've just given a little understanding, and it's a value addition on scientific method. So please go through this, that what is scientific method. It consists of certain steps. If a question comes, ठीक है, आप लोगों को ऐसा question आ सकता है that how sociology is scientific. So you will say that sociology is scientific because it uses certain scientific methods. All right. So यहाँ पे one by one, I have given a great explanation to all this. Then we got scientific viewpoint. ये आप चाहो तो skip भी कर सकते हो, but एक बार read कर लेना. Okay. Now this is a question which generally you get sociology as science. ठीक है? So you can simply read that how sociology is a science, what type of debates we have in terms of explaining that sociology is a science. Anyone? Any doubt so far? किसी को कोई doubt है? अंकित, साहित्य, नितिन, पवन, सौरभ. Please go through this PPT, ठीक है? और उसके बाद all this you can just talk about it, all right? जब आप ये दोनों PPT कर लो, then there are 2 PPTs, but I will just write down, यहाँ पे लिखा हुआ नहीं है, as a value addition. ठीक है? It is there as a value addition. तो यहाँ पे लिखा हुआ नहीं है, but आप लोगों को जब मिलेगा, so I will just write down value addition here. एक और आपको PPT मिलेगी, उसमें भी वैल्यू एडिशन लिख दूंगी. सो वैल्यू एडिशन का क्या मतलब है? इसमें से आपको सिर्फ पढ़ना है. आपको लगता है कि आपको कुछ ऐड करना, तो यू कैन जस्ट डू अ वैल्यू एडिशन ऑन दैट. ऑलराइट. तो कोई भी बच्चा, अभी हमने टॉपिक कंप्लीट कर लिया है, टॉपिक 1, टॉपिक 2, टॉपिक 3. किसी को भी कोई प्रॉब्लम है? अंकित, साहित्य, नितिन, पवन, सौरभ, आनंद. क्वालिटेटिव रिसर्च का लिमिटेशन ये है कि नंबर्स नहीं है, बायसनेस की प्रॉब्लम हो सकती है. ठीक है? अब हम व्हेन वी आर फाइंडिंग, सो इट्स वेरी डिफिकल्ट वेदर वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट आवर ओन assumptions and presupposition or whether respondent have actually said that. So qualitative research की ये एक सबसे बड़ा चैलेंज है, लिमिटेशन है. क्वांटिटेटिव रिसर्च का क्या चैलेंज है? क्योंकि रिसर्चर उसमें बिल्कुल भी इन्वॉल्व नहीं है, वो बस स्टैटिस्टिक देख रहा है, तो वो नंबर्स की बेस पे अपनी थ्योरी प्रोड्यूस कर रहे हैं, जो कि जिसपे एक क्वालिटेटिव और मोर इंफॉर्मेशन लैकिंग है. तो ये दोनों मेजर चैलेंज है, लिमिटेशन है क्वांटिटेटिव और क्वालिटेटिव अप्रोच का. तो जो क्वालिटेटिव अप्रोच में नहीं है, क्वांटिटेटिव, दैट इज अ चैलेंज इन क्वालिटेटिव, एंड जो क्वालिटेटिव में नहीं है वो क्वांटिटेटिव में है. तो ये दो मेजर चैलेंजेस हैं. हाँ, so that you will write down for the 20 marks. तो अब इस वाले क्वेश्चंस में आप सिर्फ लिमिटेशन नहीं लिखोगे, पहले आप एक्सप्लेन करोगे that what is qualitative, what is quantitative approach, then you will write down that how qualitative approach is missing this point and how quantitative approach is missing this point. तो quantitative approach कौन सा है? पॉजिटिविस्ट. तो आप पॉजिटिविस्ट का पूरा डेफिनेशन लिया होगे, राइट? So let's just say quantitative. First of all, we will explain quantitative, then we will explain qualitative. फिर हम दूसरे पॉइंट्स में हमें इसके सिग्निफिकेंस और चैलेंजेस बताने होंगे. बहुत जल्दी इंट्रोडक्शन में ही होगा क्योंकि क्वेश्चन लिमिटेशन है, तो आपको बॉडी 1 में लिमिटेशन ही बताना होगा आपको. और जब आप लिमिटेशन बताओगे तो आप डिबेट लेके आ जाओगे पॉजिटिविस्ट और एंटी पॉजिटिविस्ट. तो क्वांटिटेटिव अप्रोच जो पॉजिटिविस्ट का था 2014 में आया था ये क्वेश्चन 20 मार्क्स का. तो इमाइल रखा एंड ऑल पॉजिटिविस्ट वो यही तो बोल रहे थे कि आप नेचुरल साइंस की तरह ही पढ़ो. बट देन एंटी पॉजिटिविस्ट का क्या क्रिटिक था कि आप नहीं कर सकते हो, आपको इंटरप्रिटेशन लेके आना पड़ेगा. तो ये दोनों डिबेट्स आएंगे. ओके सौरभ, तो ऐसा नहीं है कि आप सिर्फ क्वांटिटेटिव और क्वालिटेटिव के लिमिटेशंस लिखोगे. ऑलराइट, इज देयर एनीवन हु इज फाइंडिंग एनी डिफिकल्टीज गाइस? So from tomorrow we'll start the next class.